Previously on Soviet Star Wars, the rebellion failed. Capitalism won. Yavin-Grad was vaporized, and the rebellion completely obliterated. Tsar Palpatine and his ministers toasted the final end of the Bolshevik menace. The prophet star had triumphed. The rebellion was presumed dead, and glorious capitalist order reigned from one side of the galaxy to the other. Then, inexplicably, reports began arriving of familiar enemies resurfacing on the frozen world of Hoth-Grad. Somehow, the rebellion had returned. The Bolshevik alliance chose Hoth-Grad for its agricultural potential, a planet where temperatures never rose above -40 degrees, and the ground was harder than Stalin's heart. Potato farms failed instantly, yet the collective continued planting in heroic defiance of reality. Lukov sulked in the cold, his blaster frozen solid. Comrades fought over the last beet ration, yet R2 Gruski remained cheerful, compiling purge quotas for the post-revolution years. C3 KGB, fluent in one language, revolution, boosted morale by reciting Das Kapital in its entirety, every single morning. Princess Leia Organovich tried to rebuild the glorious revolution in this snowbound wasteland, while Ivan Solo quietly regretted every life choice that had led him to this moment. Meanwhile, the Tsar's economic war machine flourished. Armed now with 2 prophet stars, both fully operational and sponsored by McDonald's, they broadcast the Empire's might across the galaxy. When Grand Moff Tarkanovich's probes found the rebel base, he unleashed his AT-AT walkers, their armor plastered with corporate advertisements. The battle was short-lived, but brought in record viewing figures for the Imperial Broadcasting Network. As the comrades fled, Lukov was tasked with a mission by Konobevich: travel to Dagobah-Grad and find Master Yodovich. To ensure his own escape, he heroically sacrificed Wedge Antilov to the Empire's shock troops, citing the inevitable casualties of revolution as he did so. On the swamp world of Dagobah-Grad, Lukov found an ancient hermit who claimed that Marxist dialectics alone could crush capitalism. Yodovich was not a Jedi master, but a self-appointed authority on Marxist theory, who had been living alone for decades, blaming capitalism for his total lack of success in life. The force is nothing compared to the power of Marxist economic theory. Profit leads to money, money leads to greed, greed leads to exploitation, exploitation leads to capitalist dictatorship. His training regime was unorthodox, carrying stacks of Lenin's collected works through waist-deep bog water, completing unconscious bias tests, and 40 hours of mandatory gender-neutral tractor maintenance seminars. Meanwhile, Leia and Ivan sought refuge in Bespin-Grad. It was run by Lando Karpasovovich, an entrepreneur whose populist slogans masked an empire of private ownership. The Bolsheviks swallowed their ideology to enjoy warm beds and 3 meals a day, but Lando betrayed them. Not just for a pile of credits, but because, as he confessed, communism is kinda cringe. Ivan was handed to Vedorov, and the trap was sprung. Deep in Dagobah-Grad's caves, Lukov experienced a vision. First Marx, then Stalin, and finally himself in a commissar's greatcoat, solemnly signing his comrades' execution orders. When he sensed Leia and Ivan were in danger, Yodovich urged, "Forget your friends. The seeds of revolution sacrifice is." Lukov nodded in agreement, but after months of absurd drills and useless seminars, he decided theory without action was meaningless. He left for Bespin-Grad. In Cloud City's carbon freezing chamber, Vedorov waited patiently, reading Milton Friedman. When Lukov finally arrived, the duel began. Lukov, armed with Marxist theory and Das Kapital, versus Vedorov, armed with an actual sword. The result was predictable. Vedorov sliced off Lukov's hand. "If only you knew the power of libertarian economics," Vedorov intoned. "Join me, and together we can privatize the galaxy." Lukov, who valued breathing more than ideological purity, agreed to join him, only to lose his grip as he stood up, plummeting into the abyss below. He was scooped up by the Millennium Falcon's garbage system. The comrades escaped once more. Ivan remained frozen in carbonite, a monument to the futility of collective action. Leia wept. Chuberka roared. R2 Gruski recalculated the probability of success. The odds were not encouraging. Coming soon to Pravda Pictures, Star Wars: The Capitalists Strike Back. The sequel nobody needed, but the revolution demands.